A character that was extremely relevant during the Void Century, we have Joy Boy. He was brought up, talked about by King Neptune, and I believe in chapter 114, Kaido made reference to Joy Boy. And I know there's a lot of confusion about, well, him since he's supposed to be dead and during the Void Century about 800 years ago. So I decided to include talking about everything we know about him so far and theories that I've come up with for this video. So first, I want to say I believe Joy Boy isn't exactly a person. However, it's a title given to someone, right? He, like I said, he was alive during the Void Century, but he couldn't be alive now because that was 800 years ago. And so similar to how Laughter got its name because the treasure was a tale full of laughs, and Joy Boy could be a title to someone that, well, we currently know. I think you guys know what I'm talking about, but we'll talk about him a little bit later in the video. And also, I will say that there are two Joy Boys, right? Like I said, currently the one now and the one that happened back 800 years ago. But if you guys like videos like these, then make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video. But with that out of the way, my name is Potential Unleashed, and here is everything that we know about Joy Boy thus far. So the Joy Boy that was alive 800 years ago, he lived on the surface and he had a relationship with the previous Poseidon, well, before Shirahoshi. And so back then, he made a promise to the mermaid princess that he was unable to keep, and then he wrote her an apology letter, or some words of apology. And so he decided to write this promise on these indestructible stones, and we know them well as poneglyphs. Now, the contents on the poneglyphs, well, they're unknown, but according to royal legend, that Fishman Island, someone will come back to fulfill Joy Boy's promise, meaning that someone will inherit his will. And the promise, well, it has something to do with the Noah, and Neptune brought this up, and so that's why Neptune and his predecessors, well, they had been protecting the Noah for generations, according to chapter 649. So what was the promise that Joy Boy had for the previous Poseidon? I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know, but this is where the theories come in. We know that ships are built to carry things, carry people, and so we know that Luffy promised the previous Poseidon, or the current Poseidon, I'm sorry, that he's going to take her to the surface. So we can speculate that the Noah is supposed to be this big ship that carries all the people of Fishman Island to the surface, and this has to do with Madame Charlie's theory of Luffy destroying Fishman Island. Now, whether he do that on purpose or an accident, that's a different story. However, I have the One Piece theory. The video would be in the description. It's doing really well. A lot of people agree with me. However, we believe that in order to obtain the One Piece, Luffy will destroy the Red Line, and the Red Line is right above Fishman Island. So Luffy will gather those people, and he will, the Mermaid Princess and the Fishman, they will ride the Noah back to the surface. We know Joy Boy wrote the apology on the poneglyphs, but why did he choose such indestructible stones? Well, more likely than not, he just did it so nobody would destroy it, someone or something, so that it can be preserved for a long time. And we know that the Kazuki clan are those who created the poneglyphs, meaning that Joy Boy had some ties to Kazuki clan, whether that mean he was an actual Kazuki member or he just had some ties to the clan. Joy Boy, he also had connections to the One Piece as well. After reaching Laughter, Roger, he basically said, "Oh, Joy Boy, I wish I had been born in your time." And he also said that Joy Boy, he left the treasure here. And so Oden also said that day is when they learned the entire truth, and Joy Boy is a big figure in the Void Century. And there's some speculations that the big hat that's under Mary Joas, that is Joy Boy's hat, when we speculate that Joy Boy could possibly have been a giant. So next we'll talk about who will be the next Joy Boy, or is the next Joy Boy already a thing in the current era. And so Roger and Oden, they both were waiting for somebody. That person we can speculate is Luffy. And I've seen a lot of people say that Momo could be the next Joy Boy, which that can't happen. Because in chapter, I believe, 968, Oden, he said himself that Wano needs to be open. And as we know, Momonosuke was alive and he was in Wano. So that means that Momonosuke cannot be Joy Boy, if that makes any sense. And so in chapter 972, that's when Oden stated that Wano and the entire world is waiting for somebody 800 years in the future, and that when they do arrive, we need to welcome and we need to assist them. And in chapter 1016, Yamato believes that person that Oden was talking about is Luffy, and she believes that he's Joy Boy. And it's also worth mentioning that Yamato did indeed read Oden's journal. And in chapter 576, Whitebeard, he said that Roger was waiting on someone, and it can be speculated that person he was waiting on was Joy Boy. And in chapter 105, my bad, Crocus, he says that, well, and he implies that Luffy was the person and his crew that where Roger was waiting on, and the crew that will exceed theirs. And then before Whitebeard's death, we all know that flashback with Roger. They had a conversation about the D clan, and so he talked about Marshall D. Teach, and he was like, well, Teach, you're not the person that Roger was waiting for. You're not the person in D. So we can speculate that Joy Boy has to be a member of the D clan. So in chapter 968, I believe that's a chapter when Roger is talking to the Sea Kings. He talks about the birth of two souvenirs, basically saying about Poseidon and the person born in the distant sea, and those people will meet again and they will use the power for good. And so we believe that the previous Poseidon and Joy Boy, they made 800 years ago with Poseidon. They came together, and Roger agreed that the Sea Kings were telling the truth, and someone will be born surpassing them. And Luffy's goal being to become the Pirate King, attain the One Piece, and surpass Roger. It only makes sense. It's heavily implied. And then in chapter 626, there's a lot of chapters in the video, I'm sorry, but I want to provide key evidence for you guys. Oda, she reveals about the Royal Legend, where basically there will be a special mermaid born, someone who can talk to and use the Sea Kings, which is Poseidon. Right, that's the power. And Oda says that there will be a special person that will use her powers for good. And then Pedro, he claimed that Luffy will have a major role in the Dawn, which I'll talk about a little bit later in the video. And then I think I mentioned this in the beginning of the video, but we're going back to chapter 1014, where Kaido, he talks about Joy Boy. He says, you couldn't be Joy Boy either, implying that there's a title, something that Luffy can earn. Kaido, he couldn't have met Joy Boy. Like I said, that was the 800 years ago. However, like kind of like a tall tale or something, he's probably heard about Joy Boy. And since he believes that Joy Boy probably has to be somebody strong, and since he was unable to beat Kaido in that instance, that Luffy will eventually beat Kaido and he will surpass him, and so making him the new Joy Boy, and Kaido will probably acknowledge him and admit that Luffy is the new Joy Boy. Now, the final thing we're going to talk about this video is, well, the Dawn. So the first time we ever see reference of the Dawn is with Nekomamushi during the Zou arc in chapter 809, and it makes reference about the light in the sky. Light always comes after the dawn, and it vanquishes the darkness. And in One Piece, the darkness symbolizes evil, as you know, Blackbeard with his Yami Yami no Mi, that Blackbeard's a bad guy, right? And so Ace was a good guy. Fire, darkness, the light in the darkness, etc. And so what we believe the evil is, or the darkness, is the world government. And we love Pedro. He had his crew, the Nox Pirates, he believed, and the Nox refers to the moment before the dawn. And so he always wanted to be with Roger, and then he wanted to assist those who had reference or who had an impact on the dawn. And so the Minks, they had been waiting for the sunlight for a long time, right? And so the dawn signifies the death of darkness, and those who will guide them in the light and defeat the world government will be the Straw Hat Pirates. And so we know what the new ship is called. It's called the Thousand Sunny. It has a lion's face with a sun, right? It's going to be the king of the sea. And so Oda, he gave the new Joy Boy that for a reason. The dawn, the sun, it just makes sense. The Sunny will guide the world into a new dawn. In chapter 966, Yamato said that Momonosuke, he cannot die because he will be assisting to those and move the world towards its dawn. And after Momo read the journal, I believe in chapter 1014, he stated that he can't afford to die, meaning that there was something important in Oden's journal. Since Roger and Oden, they traveled together to Lafto, we could speculate that, well, Momonosuke has an important role to play. And so in 850, Pedro, he stated that the Straw Hats will guide the world to the dawn and change the world. And looking back at what Oda said, Luffy will use Shirahoshi's power for good, and him and the Straw Hats will fight the great evil and lead the world to dawn, changing the world for the better. And so before his death in chapter 576, Whitebeard stated that someone will attain the treasure, which is the One Piece, and it would change the world and turn it upside down, challenging the world government to a fight. So Luffy will attain the One Piece, and he will challenge the world government. So to conclude, Luffy is the next / current Joy Boy, and he will keep his promise to Shirahoshi by bringing her to the surface, where that will also keep the promise that the previous Joy Boy gave to the previous Poseidon 800 years ago. And Luffy and the Straw Hats will get the One Piece, and they will turn the world upside down, challenging the world government and leading the world to the dawn. But there we have it. This is everything we know about Joy Boy, different theories and speculations. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also hit that notification bell so you guys never miss out on a new video from me. Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat is on the screen and in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching. And don't forget to unleash your potential.